Hey everybody, coming to you live from 15 to 18 foot up a tree. I don't know, I didn't bring my tape measure with me, but I'm gonna tell you a little bit about the saddle system that I've been using. Been using the saddle system for over 30 years, and I see a lot of people. They're getting their techniques wrong with their saddle system. They're doing a few little things wrong, and it's driving a lot of people to quit using the saddle. But I'm still hunting, and you'll see me glancing around a little bit like this, because I'm still hunting. I'm still trying to see a deer, but I'm hunting an area with a lot of noise so I can talk. It's a lot of water noise here, so I can talk without, worrying about a deer hearing me 30 or 40 yards out. And it's really thick. I know I'm supposed to be, when I'm talking to y'all, I'm supposed to be talking in the camera, like so. Not like that, because that's a little weird, but the saddle system I've been using is the Anderson Tree Sling, an old Anderson Tree Sling that's been modified. And the reason I modified it, the old sling, if you remembered, it came together as one lanyard. And I know I'll be getting some of these terms wrong. I've been using the saddle system a long time, but I don't know the terms tethered off. I don't really know that. All I know is that came down to one line, and you wrap that tree around the line, and it hooked back into itself where you tied some type of knot in it, and that's the way it worked. And the problem with it was to get an adjustment out of it, you either had to loosen it up and slide it up or down the tree, which was a mistake, because the lanyard is supposed to be hooked up to a certain spot in the tree. The height is very important. We'll get to that later. So that was a problem, and it was also a problem making last minute adjustments. So as you can see, I went to a more normal, like what everybody's using now, system. I just bought this, I think it was a HSS or something, I don't know. But anyway, I went to the system where you just throw the rope around with a loop around the tree, and it's got a Pro-6 on it right here, as you can see, and that gives me quicker and easier adjustments. It's still not real easy. You got to kind of loosen up the Pro-6, so it might be a better way using that little metal deal. But anyway, this is what I've got for now, and that's what I got for a saddle. Now, I utilize a saddle with a platform. Look down here at my platform, slide down the tree. I use an old lock-on, and I think you can see that. Let me scoot it on down. Yep. As you can see, I'm using an old lock-on stand. I took the seat off of it. That's what makes the noise. The seat and the braces on the lock-on is what makes the noise. And I've got a Spirit here. Got the seat and the braces off. And some people think it's a little bit unsafe, but I've had those braces off for 30 years, and I've never had one kick up, kick out, or anything on me. Just get the rope tight enough, and everything's fine. But this platform, without the seat and without the braces, is around 8 pounds. Maybe a little less, and so it's likely as light as that little bitty platform that many of y'all are using, and it's much more of a platform. And as you hear me talk, I utilize the platform. Now, that's just the way I roll. That's my system. Now, I'm gonna get into kind of how I sit in it, and like right now is one of the ways I sit in it. I'll loosen up my Pro-6, slide it down the rope, and I'll sit down. And I know some of you I've got my boots off, and it's hot. It's like old Derek Lewis when after that MMA fight, he pulled his pants off because his balls was hot. Well, my feet was hot, so I pulled my boots off, and that's that. Maybe I'll get an endorsement for Darn Tough socks, because that's the ones I got on, those ones I believe in. But anyway, this is one of the positions I sit in from time to time just to change it up. I'll get slide down, get plenty of slack, and I'll just sit down in the stand like this and prop my knees on these braces. If you can see these braces coming down on these lock-on stands, it's pretty unique. It's one of the only stands that's made this way. And these braces come in handy. I can put my feet like this on these braces. Gives a more comfortable angle. Or when I'm standing up and shooting and just using my stand more for shooting instead of the saddle, I can brace my legs between these two braces, and it gives you a lot of stability. And you know, when you're standing up in a tree 30 foot, you need that little extra confidence. I know most of us are supposed to be able to stand up without falling over. And I'm pretty coordinated, but still, that security of having my legs braced between these braces on this lock-on gives me a lot of confidence and security. Now, this is a position I utilize most. I'm just leaning back away from the tree and got some weight on the saddle, some weight on the platform. I'm sharing the load between the saddle and the platform. You know, sometimes I'll be standing on the flat part of the platform, and other times I'll just stand on these braces. It changes the angle, makes my feet more perpendicular to my leg, and just gives me a little break that way. Other times I'll just stand up. Now, you know, saddle hunting, yes, mostly for facing the tree, but because I got a platform, I'm not limited to facing the tree. I can face away from the tree, and actually my better shots feel like there's less in my way facing away from the tree. But other times, for just comfort and the security that I've got a tree to hide behind, I'll face the tree most of the time. But if I need to face away, a lot of times I'll just kind of wound up, and I'll put this right here and just kind of lean out on it and face away from the tree. Sometimes I can even sit down facing away from the tree, and it's a little uncomfortable because you got your rigging coming up over your shoulder, the trees, you know, on your back. The more weight you put down on the saddle, the more it kind of pins you to the tree, and it's uncomfortable. But if I wanted to be comfortable, I'd stay at home in the recliner. What I want to cover next is what I see a lot of people doing wrong in the way they utilize their rigging, the way they set up a saddle. I mean, it's making a lot of people a little disappointed in their saddle system, because there's so many of y'all that's just now getting into the saddles. They're kind of being promoted as being the best thing since sliced bread, and then you start using them and they're a little aggravating. There's some things that you need to know that'll help you. And number one, from your platform, or if you're standing on steps, your rigging doesn't need to go any more than about eyeball high around the tree. That's how you want this when you're leaning back away from the tree. You want it to come up at about a 45 to the tree. And the reason for that is when you start taking these shots to your left-hand side, and if you're rigged up really, really high up the tree, you're going to be hitting this right here. Now, I've got mine down low, and you see I've got good clearance. I can clear it. I can turn. I can shoot toward the camera. Got good clearance. If this rigging was up as high as I could reach, I would be hitting my elbow on this, or coming darn close. And in certain situations when you're getting like this, it would be my elbow would be hitting the rigging. I mean, it's almost hitting it now, but it's clearing it just enough. And I'm going to peel down. So you're sitting here, and I've got my bow here. Let me get my bow. Get my bow. I'm going to bring it around. I'm going to bring it over like this. I'm on this side, and I'm set up in a situation with a deer coming toward me straight through the tree. And I'm not so sure I'm going to get a shot on the right-hand side or the left-hand side, which that's a little bit of a mistake to begin with. You really need to set up to where you're pretty sure you're going to get a shot on one side or the other. It don't really matter which. You just want to be sure where you're not switching through. Let me show you how I see some people when they do have to switch through. Now here's you got this dangling down, it's in the way. Normally I'll wrap it around here. But you go through and you go through here. You got your tree stand you gotta worry about bumping. You got all this and you go through and immediately you got this in the way. The only way to take slack off is to come like that. And the more I roll to my right, the more it wraps me up. And it'll get to the point, if I gotta come all the way around this way, it'll wrap me to the tree so tight that I hadn't got any room to move. You don't want to ever come through under the underside of this lantern. All you gotta do, you're sitting here like this, the tree's right here, the deer shifts goes this way. You just want to wheel the bow back like this, over the top, like this. Then I'll come and give myself a little slack. And if I have to turn all the way around, I can just keep turning. I'm facing 180 degrees now and I can still shoot. Now it's starting to get a little tight wrapped around my belly. And if I needed even more slack, I can just pull a little bit. I can come all the way around. I've almost went 360. Otherwise, I'd be pinned to the tree. That's probably the number one thing. Never go under the lantern back toward the tree. Now I got my bow on the right-hand side now because I'm expecting shots on the right-hand side. And yeah, it'd be real tempting to go up underneath if the shot was on the left-hand side. I could do it, but it's a little bit, it's harder to do it that way. It's a little harder to reach over the rope or the rigging to get the bow, but then you got good clearance going over the top and around. Yeah, you don't want to turn your bow all sideways and come through like that because that's a lot of more movement. I keep mine more in line. I just go back like this, straight back, and then over. It's a little less surface area for them to see. If your lantern tied way up the tree, going over the top, it's going to be more in your way too. It's just more out of the way down low. So keep it down low. Well, that's about all I got. 30 years of saddle hunting, and I can tell all I got in 2 or 3 minutes. Oh well, I'm gonna wrap it up. I think I've told you about everything that I can tell you. I'm still learning about these saddles, and you got any comments or anything? Some things you might have saw I'm doing wrong. Please feel free to share. Maybe some tips that I need to know, and just put it in the comments below.